Howdy folks, here's a part 2 video over at the Alligator Creek Preserve. So now we're actually on the Pine Flatwoods trail. So you could say that for the time being, we've actually moved further upland, away from the water. So with that being said, since we've moved a bit further upland, that's where the soil is going to get a little more dry. So now we're kind of getting into the mesic or even the xeric zone, which basically describes moderate to very dry soil. So only a handful of particular plants and trees can really survive in these types of habitats. So, for instance, all that surrounds us is our well-known slash pine. As I've mentioned before, slash pine is one of those evergreen trees that you'll see in Florida. Now, slash pine is very well known to having a very thick bark, as you can see right here. But the thing is, what's neat about the slash pine is it's an excellent source for helping to start a fire. Do you know why? Give you guys a second to think about it. Well, what do most conifers produce? Well, for those of you who have thought of sap, you would be correct. So the slash pine sap, actually, it's produced within the bark of the pine. And you know what the kicker is? The sap is flammable. So actually, if you get plenty of that resource and then put it in your kindling to start your fire, the sap can actually keep it on fire longer so that it doesn't go out so quick. Not only that, but the tree in the past has been extracted for turpentine as well, especially the pioneers who were down in this area. But that's one thing to remember when you're in a survival situation, for instance, is the fact that slash pine could actually help save your life as well. Now, with that being said, since we're kind of in the Pine Flatwoods section, that's where you'll start to see more of the endangered species, such as that of the Gopher Tortoise. And I know I've done videos on that fellow homie, since they are indeed a keystone species, which means that their burrows that they dig in these types of habitats can provide a home for up to 360 separate species to survive. Now, another question that may come to mind is, how often does a prescribed burn really happen out here? I mean, depending on whether it's just a state park or if it's sort of like a non-profit, it can vary. But usually, to maintain like a healthy ecosystem, it could be anywhere between 1 to 5 years. It just really depends. And these prescribed burns, some of you may have a concern for what happens to the wildlife. Well, actually, as I was mentioning, when I was talking about the gopher tortoise, their burrows can actually help provide protection from those prescribed burns. And oftentimes, with that being said, some of the homies even know when to leave as well for a brief time. But usually there's a lot of assessment that takes place before a burn, so that people kind of have an idea of what's in the area before they start it. And usually it's controlled too. So that's another thing. It's supposed to basically simulate you know, when a lightning strike happens and then a fire begins. But that type of management allows the soil here to be replenished and even keeps our plants in check. And what's even more fascinating is the fact that these slash pines are actually highly fire resistant. That's why they have that thick covering on their bark. Oh, see a white ibis, I think. Let me see if you guys can see it. Oh no, I was wrong. That's a wood stork. Yep, I just had to get a closer look at it. Yep, that was a wood stork. That was cool. But another common plant that you may find out here in a pine flatwood is the Greenbriar. And rest assured, they're not what you think they are, even though they have the shape. But rest assured, oh boy. Yeah, but it's actually called the Salt Greenbriar. It actually falls under the genus of Smilax. And actually, most Smilax sort of act as a vine. So rest assured, this is indeed a native plant in Florida. And oftentimes, most Smilax plants are actually edible, too. They really kind of have sort of a win-win as well. You know, it's native, and it can also be a food source. But yeah, since it is slightly drier, you won't really see like as many of your palms or even live oaks, because they require a lot more moisture. But literally, you walk just maybe a half mile, it literally enters right into a coastal hammock. That's actually where I essentially did my last video. Let's see what's up here. But yeah, each habitat serves a particular purpose. Ah, here we go. This talks a bit about the feral hogs. These are actually, well, as it mentions on here, they're descendants of pigs, and they were brought over by Spanish explorers. And with that being said, they actually carry a disease that's called Brucellosis. I actually remember doing a bit of a presentation on that a long time ago, as a matter of fact. But they're invasive since they have the capability to essentially dig in the sand that surrounds this place. So like right here, or even here. They usually try going after grubs or worms that may reside in the sand. And with that being said, they can really disturb any of the native vegetation that's around here. They essentially act kind of like a bulldozer. But yeah, they do carry a disease called Brucellosis, because as I recall, when I was in FFA, back in the good old days, my high school days, yeah, I'm sure a lot of you didn't know that I was in FFA, but I was for a time. I actually did a whole presentation on Brucellosis and how it is a bit dangerous to contract, especially among other livestock. But right now, this is actually part of the Charlotte Harbor State Park. So we're kind of going on a hidden hammock trail. But rest assured, it is all connected. So alright, you guys, I feel like this was another long video that I made, but as always, there's a lot of information to share in a short time frame, right? So alright, you guys, I hope all of you enjoy your Wednesday and journey on a journey is outwards. Take care, folks, and who knows, some of you I may actually see along the trails. All right, you guys, take care.